Hey guys, Gaius Hennin here again at the Shelter Institute. Today I'm demonstrating the use of a traditional Japanese handsaw known as a Ryoba. It has a cross-cut tooth on this side, which is the typical Japanese cross-cut tooth, sharpened on both sides and sharpened on the top. And on this side we have the ripping tooth, and as you can see it's a much simpler tooth, and that's because of the job that it's doing. Cutting the wood parallel to the grain is a simpler job than cutting the wood perpendicular to the grain. So I'm going to demonstrate this saw in a way that really helps it shine, cutting a little tenon on the end of this piece of wood. So when you're cutting a tenon, obviously you're making one cross cut and then one rip cut to remove this piece of wood. So I'm going to start with the ripping cut. That's the larger tooth on this side of the handsaw. Before we started videotaping, I actually did the layout for this, and I just used a scoring knife. So you can see the line clearly here. It's a little bit harder to see it, but I do have a line scored across the end grain of the timber, and then also down the sides corresponding to the tenon. So, just like I start most of my cuts, and I've shown you in the other videos, I like to start my cut away from me and work back across the line. Because I can't see the line over here, I'm going to try not to cut the wood on this side. So first I'll just draw that line all the way across like I've done. As I continue the rip cut, I want to keep these teeth engaged in the kerf that I started on this side so that the blade isn't flopping. But I'm going to concentrate on not cutting down that side. So I'm just going to cut along this line and this line that I can see. Alright, so now I've basically completed a diagonal cut from this corner to this corner, corresponding to the cross cut for the tenon. So now I'm going to move myself to the other side of the timber and just finish the cut along the line on this side because I can see it over here. All right, now I've completed the cut all the way across. Those last few strokes you've noticed, I was cutting fairly gingerly because I don't want to overcut the tenon, and now I can do the cross cut. So again, I always like to knock the corner off with a little push, and then I can start sawing. So again, I've completed that cut across the top. I can see the line the whole way across. Now I want to concentrate on not cutting down this line because I can't see it from where I stand. But again, I want to keep my teeth engaged in the saw kerf so that the blade doesn't dance around on me. All right, once again, I've completed a diagonal cut from this corner down to this corner, corresponding to the cheek cut for my tenon. I can move myself to the other side and finish the cut along the line here that I can see. You can see here the importance of a score line. Notice how the wood is tearing out on the waist side of the line, but because I have my handsaw positioned just to this side of the score line, we get a nice clean cut on this side that's staying. Cautious not to overcut again.